hate that I even had that pop in my head, but I'm tardy to the party. I do not understand how that song even got traction, but I digress. That was my opinion. Other people liked it. So we are going to be in Genesis chapter 4. So for anyone that has not had the acquaintance of meeting me, I am Nidra. I am the Most High God's servant because my life is not my own. I've gone through many trials and tribulations, challenges to be an example and a help and healer to others. And it has been a tumultuous journey, but I am still grateful. I am on this side of the realm to continue to do his work. And so after my spiritual awakening, I felt prompted, and prior to, I would feel a connection, and I would have things audibly come through my mind. And this, what I know now, is they were translating for me to understand. But now I receive it in the spirit, and I can translate it from the spirit realm to this earthly realm. And after my spiritual awakening, after certain levels and things of nature and things that I went through, I could speak my native language. And I have a perfect understanding of what I'm saying, but it's spiritual. So I translate spiritually. And might ask, what language is that? And it's the first language ever, as in ever, in this earthly realm. And so after God divided everybody up in all the different languages, it was basically a piece and portion of each of that native language. So, which still blows my mind. I'm just humbled, and I'm highly humbled. And I thought that I was getting the gift of tongues in a sense of how I hear so many other people speak it. But when God said that he was giving me the gift of tongues, it was literally the original tongue. So there's just so much that I am learning right now. I am in his training course. I call it a mental obstacle course, but it is a training course nonetheless in this realm and the spirit realm. So I'm just grateful. I really am. I'm sharing in the mornings my road and transition back to health. And so I'm holding myself accountable. I've been in the fitness arena training everything 20 years. I'm 51 years old. I'm really grateful that, and I've also still worked, that was like my side hustle basically, because it didn't feel like work. I just loved all things fitness. I really just worked whatever I could, to get back to health. Like I would love food. So that tug of war happened. And so loving fitness and loving food, there was always a battle. So I just love how the Most High uses everything. And he's used that a lot to teach me. So I just want to kind of give a little backdrop of just my mindset and what I come from. And I lived on both sides of that coin. I've lived out in the world, seeking and wanting all the wrong things for all the right reasons. And all of these different things that I'm sharing through my spiritual awakening journey. Um, I share that at 9 p.m. That's because I was supposed to be on here at 1:30 p.m. today. And it always gets derailed by something I'm going through spiritually. So, and I had no thought of time. Like I kept thinking that I had hours before my next live. And that just kept playing in the back of my mind. And clearly it was outside of divine timing. So I know that I got on here at this time specifically for somebody to hear this message. because that's how God works. So I was late for a reason. And so he's going to use it the way he wants to. So we're going to get started in the book of Genesis, chapter 4. I've already recorded chapter 1, 2, and 3. Each and every single day, we just cover one chapter. I love that he has me breaking it down in this way because even for myself, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I can only hold but so much knowledge in this flesh. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. All right, so getting started in the scriptures, which I had it pulled up, but I guess I got kicked out. Okay. Grab my glasses, because sadly my eyes are not what I would like them to be right now. So there's that. Okay. All right, so in the Old Testament, in the book of Genesis, chapter 4. All right, so the introduction says, Eve bears Cain and Abel. They offer sacrifices. Cain slays Abel and is cursed by the Lord, who also sets a mark upon him. The children of men multiply. Adam begets Seth, and Seth begets Enos. And the first verse says, And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time, it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? Now, God is asking him, but he already knows the answer. So this is not something he needs to find out. He already knows the answer and is asking Cain because of the simple fact he wants to know if is he going to be honest and truthful and forthright with the Lord. And it says, it's in verse 7, if thou dost well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So here we see that Cain didn't even respond to God. So because he already knew what was in his heart, and what I'm feeling right now is the shame. I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling guilt-ridden. And so this is what Cain was feeling at that time when God asked those questions. And this is what I'm being told. And it says, going back to verse 7, if thou doest well, and I said dost. I don't know what possessed me to pronounce that way when I know that's doest. If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and until thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So I'm being told to read the next two verses before I break this down. Okay, and 8 says, and Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So when those questions were asked in verse 7, the Lord already knew how Cain was going to respond, is what I'm hearing. And he asked him, if thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. So God was already speaking to the sin that Cain was about to commit, the murder of his brother Abel. And he said that he knew the shame and the guilt of God asking him that question, just wanting him to rid his brother, because every time he saw his brother, he felt that guilt and shame. And he thought getting rid of his brother was going to get rid of the guilt and shame. And this is what I'm being translated in the spirit right now, that was what took place. See, when things get taken out of scriptures, things get taken out of context. And if we have missing pieces and parts, we can't see the full picture. Any part of the truth that's missing means it is not the truth. It must be whole. So you have half truths, partial truths, and we have to seek the Creator in order to receive the fullness of the truth, the fullness of the gospel, the fullness in the word. We have to seek him in order for him to reveal to us what we have, what we are in need of that's missing. And what we have is the work thereof. Like, what is the work behind that? So God is going to reveal those things to us, but that's because there is work to do. It may be work within ourselves. It may be work within ourselves to help someone else. But at the end of the day, it's still what God is calling us to do. And that's to be in this word, to learn of him, and to have a personal relationship with him. He needs us doing those two things. And the third, rounding off, is prayer and meditation. Prayer, asking for what we need, and meditation, us learning how to be still and allowing God to work. And so it's so important for us to really learn how to be still, learn how to wait on him. And a lot of times when we're in our waiting season and when God is asking us to be still, and for someone like me, it is highly, highly challenging. I'm a person that's constantly moving, doing stuff. I need to feel productive. I need to feel like I'm getting things done. And this is what this flesh has done to me. And God is constantly putting me in situations to slow me down. And I'm like, I'm having the hardest time slowing down, stopping myself, and doing what he's asking me to do. And I have to push the world out. And I have to get along with him. And I have to repent. And I have to ask for his help. And all these things that this flesh tries to tell me I don't need. So when I say these things, it is not coming from a place of me ever feeling like I'm above anybody else. I just have a perfect understanding of what God is asking, because I have been truly warned with this flesh to be as close to him as I possibly can in this flesh. I have really been tapped into my spirit for a very long time, but I never thought that there was some switch or something that seems to have skyrocketed everything with my spiritual awakening, because the supernatural is real. And I'm telling you, it's been showing up every single day. And since day one, December 4th, 2022, it's been showing up every day, the supernatural. For God to say, yes, the supernatural is real. Miracles are real. The spirit realm is real. Your spirit is speaking to you in this way. I mean, he had to take me like a baby and literally teach, lead, and guide me all over again, because he wanted me to rid every single thing that I had obtained from this world. All the things that were blocking me from hearing and listening to him, all the things that I was wounded from that distanced me from him, all these things he is correcting, healing, working through this flesh of mine to really be in alignment with him. And this is what we're seeing, that war. Cain had the war, but he lost the battle because he gave in to that feeling, to this flesh, to that feeling of guilt and shame, and wanted to try to rid himself of it, and harmed his brother where he wasn't coming back. He just wanted it gone. And this is the context. And I'm so grateful that the Most High asked me to do this, because since my spiritual awakening, regular scripture study, and I mean regular as in every single day, because I was still reading my scriptures. It was just more sporadic. I didn't have a rhyme or reason, and my prayer life had become more sporadic as well, because here it is, I'm directly hearing from him, directly hearing from my spirit guides, and it shifted and changed things for me. And it was just like the world I knew before was just gone. And here it is, God is creating a new world, a new creature. And it's been just, I have no words because in the spirit realm, there is no words that I can translate to that. So, but it's just, I'm in awe, and I am humbled, and I'm definitely working to pass every test so I can prevent delays. And the spiritual warfare that I have been up against, God has been really creating a super warrior. Let's just put it that way. Because a lot of things that I've battled and won, that I've gone through these past 2 years, I know some strong ones it has taken out. Okay. And I'm talking about, because I'm living in the spirit, but at the same time in this realm, going through all of these circumstances and situations and things that most people can't fathom going through. And it's so that I can relate to many people, so that I can understand what many people battle and go through every single day. And I've already had the spiritual gift prior to my spiritual awakening of seeing souls, of being able to see through a person straight to their soul, getting that download from that soul, and they're telling the deep wounds, the core wounds, and all the things that's going on with a person. Not specifics, but the wound, the spirit behind the wound, if that makes sense, and some of the intricate details of that. So trying to navigate that without crossing any lines, because I'm a huge advocate of people of minding my business. Okay. So if God does not instruct me, God does not ask me, I don't go looking and filtering off in somebody's life. So that's a hard no. It's just that I know he's been showing me these things so that I would understand my gift, and not to take it lightly, not to misuse it or abuse it. And I was tested on those things constantly, because I understand manipulation in a way that most people don't. What people talk about narcissists, I spot a narcissist, so I never labeled it, but I knew the behaviors, and I never was caught up in labels. Narcissist, twin flame, spiritual awakening, dark night of the soul. All these terms and everything were foreign to me, but I knew the experiences. So trying to find that balance, and I really love how the Most High just took me right back to Cain and Abel. Cain couldn't find the balance. A lot of people feel like they have to either choose their light or choose the dark, not knowing that you can balance the two. And this is why God is calling so many people to come to him, to get back on your knees and connect with him, directly to him. Stop seeking prophets and people outside of yourself, and even like at me, but he also knows that he needs willing vessels to get the word out. And then we know when the work is done, because he's not going to call us to do it anymore. That means every soul is doing what he's asking to do, and we won't be called to speak out on these things. And there are many souls, they call them light workers, star seeds. It's a bunch of terms out here for all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, these are vessels of the Most High. These are his trusted spiritual warriors that is fighting in the spirit and in this realm all at the same time. My higher self is busy. This is why I know I don't sleep that often, because my higher self is busy working in the spirit. Okay. All right, getting back to the scriptures. I just love how the Lord has me sometimes veer off a little bit to explain things. Okay, so back in verse 8, it says, And Cain talked with Abel, his brother. And it came to pass, meaning that this took place, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel, his brother, and slew him. Now, several reasons the Most High is saying that it's so important. And these are spirits that are out here wreaking havoc because of that. Envy. Now, people talk about jealousy and envy, and God says there is just the slightest difference between the two. A person that's jealous will just, wish that they had, now this is still witchcraft. So don't get it twisted. I wish I had that person's life. Why does that person get to have this and I don't? But the envious person is the person that's going to take action. Oh, I'm going to take what this person has. This person should not have this because I should have this. And that's the person that's not only just doing witchcraft, but they are doing evil deeds as per se. And the thing is that opposition exists in all things. So this is where good and evil has come from, because that's the opposite. And we all have this within us. We don't want to think we do. Just because I have chosen to love people that has done heinous things toward me, wished heinous things toward me, and harmed me intentionally and unintentionally, I still knew there was darkness inside of me. I still knew that there was a part of me that wished that I had a heart that wanted to get revenge. That was still within me. I couldn't lie and deny that. I would be dishonest. And standing before the Most High, I know I have to always be truthful in everything I do. So it's so important to be honest when you spend that time with God, because He already knows. He already sees you for who you are. So be truthful in that. He's going to help you to heal whatever wound is going on, so it don't get to the Cain and Abel incident. So He can stop those negative thoughts dead in its track, teach you how to overcome your flesh, to bring your light and dark into balance. This is why God is calling every single soul to fall on your knees, repent, humble yourself, be submissive as a child, and seek Him out wholeheartedly to gain understanding and knowledge, to build a relationship with Him, and to learn of oneself. If every single person does this, do you know the vast, ginormous, beautiful change we will see on this earth? Leaps and bounds. But it's about obedience. Are we going to be obedient to that? Are we going to choose to humble ourselves, put off the ego, pride, and all the things that come along with that, and focus on the Most High in the way He's asking us to? Because even myself, He had me showing me that I had this level of entitlement. Oh, because you've been obedient all your first 51 years of your life, because you've been self-sacrificing, because you've served and did the things I asked, that doesn't entitle you to anything. It don't entitle you to nothing. You've already agreed to follow me and do the things I'm asking you to do. So you just need to still be that willing vessel, so that I can work and use it for everybody's good. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be beneficial to all parties, because that's how the Lord works. But I have to battle my ego too. And it's just always feel resistance and opposition. And I'm telling you, I felt that sent to me like so strongly right there. I'm just grateful that I am being transparent. I'm grateful for sharing this, because I know it's going to find who needs it. I know it's going to find a person at that moment that is open and ready to receive what God is prompting and asking and calling on each person to do, to have a personal relationship with Him, not seeking anyone outside of yourself for His guidance, direction, and His correction. Because I promise you, the same way He connected with me, He can connect with you. Yeah, regardless of who I am in the spirit realm, I know that He loves each and every one of us. I know He wants the best for each and every single one of us. I know there's always enough and there is always more because He is unlimited. He is a limitless God. So therefore, anything we need, He can provide. In whatever way we need it, He can provide. And so with that, the Most High is saying, when Cain slayed his brother, first of all, he saw the gift. He saw the anointing. He saw the heart of Abel choosing the Most High no matter what, being obedient. And he didn't see that in himself. And that is why he killed his brother. Now, that is not in the scriptures, but the Most High gave me that because that was the context. And many things have been taken out because people don't want us to have the truth. They don't want us to learn the way God intended, because there are people that want to obtain power and want to rule over others when that's not what the Most High ever intended. And I'm so grateful to be used in this way. Okay, so picking back up, he says in verse 9, and the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? So he even got smart with God. Like, I don't, I'm not checking for him everywhere he go. I mean, you're bold when you're talking to the Most High that way. So not only that, something else that people don't know is they were gods then. Everybody that exists then were different gods. Now, this is the most powerful, highest God over this, but the boldness came because I know who I am type of energy. And so, I mean, this is a whole new perspective because this is new to me too, because he's never interpreted the scriptures to me this way, like ever. And I done read the scriptures many times. So this is like the best book unfolded behind the scenes, okay? Or a movie, whichever, take your pick. I'm cracking up right now. So he says in 10, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. So that's another reason how you know that was a God. The blood was crying out. So, and I'm being told to say this right now, you cannot hide from God. I don't care what you've done. I don't care what thoughts you've had. He knows it all. Each of us are assigned light and dark angels to record everything we do, everything we say, and everything that crosses through here. Everything that crosses through here. Now, see, I know I can speak in the spirit realm and nobody can understand except for the Most High God, because He is tapped into me because He created me. But others cannot, because I don't come from them. I come from Him. This is why He asks us to pray in tongues, in the spirit, because they don't know. So all of these dark workers, dark angels that are working against God's plan for our life, because it's like a game up there to them. Now, don't nobody want to hear that, but it's true. And I'm being told to be transparent and speak the truth. It's like, how many souls is the Most Highest God gonna gain, and how many souls is Lucifer gonna gain? It's an ongoing thing. People have spoke this into existence. They've created facets of this that has evolved. Now, God originated with saying having the knowledge of good and evil, but it has, just as we have the power to create buildings, roadways, and these, it's the same thing with actionable steps and out in the spirit realm and all these things. These things are created from power of life and death is in the tongue. This is why people need to be aware of the things they say, what they speak over themselves, and how they draw things into their life. They don't even realize. You focus on lack, that's what you're bringing into your life. You focus on blessings, that is what's going to come into your life. And you're going to see everything as a blessing. The pain, the struggle, everything as the blessing. It is an abundance of love and how God prepares you for what he has for you. Okay. And now that's concluded what I was asked to say. Okay. So now getting back to verse 10, where it said, and he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood cries out unto me from the ground. So it was telling Cant, you can't hide from God. I know exactly what you did. I know what you did and why you did it. And then 11 says, and now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. So there's consequences to our actions. Every single thing we choose to do, there is either a positive or a negative consequence. It's all meant to teach us. It's all meant to be for our greatest and highest good, for us to correct and realign ourselves back with the Most High. And that's what that boils down to. Okay, so verse 12 says, when thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall thou be in the earth. So God cut off all growth, any abundance that he cut came completely off from that, because he went after God's chosen. And I say God's chosen because Abel chose God's plan. Cain did not. Cain had a heart of selfishness, of greed, of wanting to please God for his own reasons. He wanted God to be pleased for his own glory, not for the glory of God. So because of that, and God seeing how he was, and he thought getting rid of his brother was going to get rid of everything else. Limited belief. Not acknowledging God's power, thinking about the strength and the power of your own. That's another telltale that those were gods at that time. And nobody wants you to know that. These things have been taken out. And I'm so grateful that God is using me, because I'm bold enough to say it. Now, whether somebody chooses to believe it or not, all you got to do is get on your knees and pray and ask him for yourself, because he's going to reveal the truth to you. All you have to do is ask for the truth, and that you receive nothing but the truth. And that's what you're going to receive. But you must speak that. Because if you just ask, you're going to get two sides, the light and the dark. But will you know how to interpret it? That's what usually trips us up and confuses us. But if we ask the most highest God for the truth and nothing but the truth, and explain it in a way that we understand, that's a whole different prayer and question. But that is why we have to be specific. I love how my grandfather really taught me this analogy, and this is what he said. He said, now when you go to prayer and with well, at the time he just said God, but the Lord let me know he wants to be set apart and known as the most highest powerful God, because that's who he is. But my grandfather said, if you pray and ask for a car, don't be upset about what you get, because all you did was ask and pray for a car. But if you know you want a red car with red interior seats, that's a Mercedes with 20-inch rims or whatever, be specific in what you ask for. Be very specific. And ever since then, I was more specific in my prayers. My grandfather taught me so much as a youthful teen. I'm so grateful. I miss him so dearly, but The gems he gave me still carry me to this day. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we know that God made Cain a fugitive. You cut off from all my blessings. You're not getting nothing, because he knew Cain's heart was not going to change. God knows that too. He knows if you're willing to change, if you're willing to be humble. And God will take you through some things that will break you. Break you. Either you're going to give in or you're going to give up. It's one of the two. And most of the time, giving up means you crossed over. So I'm just going to put that out there because that's the truth. My nose is itching, so that's confirmation. And the Most High does not want to sugarcoat anything with anyone. He wants you to have the truth, the unadulterated truth, and he wants you to come to him. Seek him wholeheartedly. Believe that he will answer. He said that you have not because you ask not, and you lack belief. He said, help my unbelief. These are the scriptures that are coming to me like crazy. Okay, so verse 13 says, and Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Well, he knew that. God knew that. Because the consequences, a lot of times we think we could do something and we think we're going to get a slap on the wrist. We don't weigh out the consequences before we take the action. And God said he wants us to start thinking about the actions we're going to take, praying over what we need to do so that we're in alignment and we don't have to go through things like this. We don't have to receive consequences that are too heavy to bear, because that's just it. He knows what we can bear. And so I'm translating right now. Please understand, God knows how much we can bear. He is a loving God. And although we have equated his love to everything feels good, that is not the case. He is teaching us to stretch us. And I was giving this analogy, and he had me write it down. Let me find it so I can make sure that I say it exactly in the way that he wanted me to. Yeah, somewhere in here. I'm so sorry. It was 1 second. This is him, and my phone is buzzing for confirmation. So I'm just making sure that I'm obedient. Okay. Okay, so I found it. So he said, take stretching, for example. If you're not flexible, it hurts to move in that certain way. To do a split. If you're not flexible, trying to do a split means you just feel like your legs gonna rip up, they're gonna tear apart. You know you're gonna have an injury trying to do a split and you're not flexible. So it says to move in certain ways, your range of motion. He told me to start over. Take stretching. If you're not flexible, it hurts to move in certain ways. Your range of motion is limited, and we are much like this in life. We don't want to bend, stretch, or work on our flexibility because it's difficult, it's painful, and it's hard. But if we allow God to push us out of our comfort zones and do the work that we need to do every day to be more flexible, and he said it's little steps along the way that's going to pay off, small steps, just that small 5 minutes every single day stretching, 10 minutes every day stretching, that we be able to do the splits. And he's saying, think about it. If I'm stretching you every single day, taking you through this experience, taking you through that experience, if we're willing to do the work and focus on him and ask, what should I be doing? How should I be receiving this? being specific in those prayers. If you don't understand something, go to him. Be specific. I don't understand how to do this stretch. It's not, my body isn't bending the way I thought it would. And I'm just taking it back to the example because he touched my heart and mind to say it that way, because some people need to hear it that way. And it says, do the work. We will be flexible and pain free. If we choose not to do the work, we will still be rigid. And that I don't even really talk in that way or even use rigid. I rarely use rigid, and limited to what we can do and how we can move. And he's saying this is how we are in life. We're so rigid. We refuse to allow him to stretch us, to bend us. Everything got to feel good. I don't want to be uncomfortable. I don't want to go through hard things. I don't want to go through challenges and difficulties. I don't want you to stretch. I don't need to do splits. And God is like, the work I need you to do, you need to do splits. You need to be flexible. And that is a really great analogy. Now, when he gave me that, I didn't know it was going to be in this. I thought it was going to be for my spiritual awakening. But it was to go along with the scripture study. And God is asking us to be flexible, to work with him. He is not going to give you more than you could bear. But when we are disobedient, and when we choose to be rigid, and when we choose to be closed-minded, which is a hardened heart, where we refuse to allow him in, and we don't want to see things from his way or his perspective. And trust me, I have been warring with myself about things that God has asked me to do right now. Being rigid, not wanting to be flexible. So trust me, he had me give this word so I can give it to myself. Okay, first of all, I ain't trying to point the finger at nobody else, because I know there's 3 pointing back at me. I'm focused on the work I need to do. So when he's speaking, I know automatically to pay attention and for me to take notice. And because I'm in that place right now where I'm choosing to be rigid. I don't want to do it because it's painful, it's difficult, it's hard. And he actually has me working on my flexibility right now. So this is just ironic and funny, because that God has a sense of humor. Trust and believe he does. And he's helping me to see things from a different angle, right? He's always getting me to focus that eagle's eye, that bird's eye view, to see it from different angles, to understand what is necessary for me to do. I'm one of those people, if I don't understand it, I feel like I'm not going to do it properly and correctly. So I ask, like, I need understanding here. Not so that I can be in control of anything, just so I can make sure I'm doing things right. And he knows when our heart is that heart posture is there, turn towards him, and when it's not. Okay, trust me, y'all, he know. Okay, so in 14 it says, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Now he said, everyone that findeth him shall slay him, which means he had to be a God, because that means he died over and over and over and over again. Okay? And whatever way God had him be killed in the flesh, whatever way God chose to slay him, whether it was death by 1,000 cuts or going through something that was heinous or horrendous for him, that he felt like, I can't take this anymore. Like, please stop. I can't take this anymore. I'm going through this over and over and over again every time somebody comes across me. And that is the consequences. A lot of us need to understand that's what we headed if we don't humble ourselves, turn from our wicked ways, and focus on the Most High. Ask for forgiveness. Seek him with a righteous heart, meaning that you don't look for anything in return. You just truly want to connect with him because he is God, because you want to learn about him, because you want to learn about yourself. That is the desire he wants us to have. Meek, mild, submissive as a child. How is a child? So eager to please, so wanting to learn everything they possibly can from their parent. And this is how God wants us, in that heart posture. Okay. So in verse 15, it says, "And the Lord said unto him, Therefore, whatsoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him shall kill him." Lest any finding him should kill him. Is that not what I just said? That God was having him killed over and over and over again. He gave that strict instruction in verse 15 that anybody that found Cain had to kill him. And that also meant if somebody didn't, they had to deal with the consequences of being disobedient. God wants us to be obedient. He wants us to learn how to be flexible. But if we don't put in the work, if we don't do what he's asking us to do, we won't get there. We just won't get there. And there's consequences that come along with that. And there's strife and there's stress. And we think certain people get away with certain things. No, they don't. Just because you don't see it, trust me, don't mean they ain't suffering. And I'm being told to pause on that thought and to keep going reading. Okay, so verse 16 says, "And Cain went out from the presence of the Lord and dwelt in the land of Nod on the east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. And he builded a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begat Mehuel, and Mehuel begat Oh, I cannot believe that happened right then and there. They messing with me, y'all. Okay, and Methuselah begat Lamech, and Lamech took unto him two wives. The name of one was Ada, and the name of the other Zillah. Okay, so, and I'm being told the sanctity of marriage and the way in which God wanted it to be had and created, that we need to seek him to learn that. We need to stop seeking outside of ourselves, because what he is calling one to do does not mean he is calling all to do. Let me say that again. He says, when it comes to marriage, we need to seek him wholeheartedly so he can reveal to us what that's supposed to look like individually for us. Not what one is doing, all is supposed to do. God is saying no. What he is calling you to do for marriage may be different for someone else. Marriage is his ministry, and he wants to teach and show what he wants to through your life, so it benefits all of us. So we teach each other, we learn from each other, and we learn from him. And we're supposed to go back to him to make sure that we're in alignment. Is this what you wanted me to learn from X, Y, and Z, from so-and-so's relationship? We're supposed to be in constant contact with him. That's why he asks us to cease not from praying, because that means that we're constantly asking, seeking guidance from the Most High. Okay? And verse 20 says, "And Ada bare Jabal. He was the father of such as dwell in tents, and of such as having cattle." And 21 says, "And his brother's name was Jubal. He was the father of all such as handle the harp and organ." 22 says, "And Zillah, she also bare Tubal-Cain, an instructor of every artificer in brass and iron, and the sister of Tubal-Cain was Naamah." And God said he was giving gifts and abilities so that everybody could provide for themselves. One person had this gift, another one had this gift. So they bartered and was able to help each other with the things and gifts that each of them had. And he said, many of us are like that, that he's given us different gifts because it's meant for us to help and be able to care for ourselves. And he said, a lot of people has taken it way out of context, overcharging folks, and he gonna deal with that too. You ain't said nothing, you ain't heard that from me. That's from him. Okay, so don't shoot the messenger. But he said that there's a lot of people that are misusing gifts and talents that he's given for prosperity and gain, and he is not pleased about it. Okay, and he made sure that I strongly reiterate that. Okay. Verse 23 says, and Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have a slain man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. Let me read that again. He wants me to break that down. And Lamech said unto his wives, Ada and Zillah, hear my voice, ye wives of Lamech, hearken unto my speech, for I have slain a man to my wounding, and a young man to my hurt. So this is the sin of the father, is what I'm being told. So the sin of the father has come down the seed, it's trickled down into his bloodline. Hence, the first bloodline that was cursed. Now, I'm trying to tell you, God is teaching right now. I pray that souls open their minds to receive it. I pray that you pray over this for yourself and that you know that he is speaking nothing but the truth. Trust me, if you ask to receive only the truth in your prayers and ask God to explain that in a way that you understand, that the way he knows you understand, then he's going to reveal many things to you, okay? So in 24 says, Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, truly, Lamech 70 and sevenfold. And Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son, and called his name Seth. For God said, she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. So God blessed Eve with another son that bare the blessing of Abel. Hence, the blessed bloodline and the cursed bloodline. So God is really saying that when we are out of alignment with him, we're cursing our bloodline. When we are in alignment with him, we are blessing our bloodline. And he said Adam and Eve took their punishment. They didn't have ill will feelings toward God where that was concerned. Now, did they have ill will feelings toward each other? Yes. Hence the curse of Adam and Eve. Hence the battle we see right now playing out against the red and blue pill community. Men, it's all men's fault. It's all women's fault. When the truth is, we both bear the blame. We both carry the weight of that. And in order to correct it, you got to focus on fixing yourself, and you can't point the finger at someone else. That's the mirror. And God is saying he wants us focused on ourselves. Stop pointing the finger outside of yourself, talking about what so-and-so did, and so-and-so did this, that, and the other. None of your business. He said you should be focused on fixing you, healing you, working with him to learn of him and to learn of you. And I pointed back at myself because this is the work I'm doing, so I know it to be so. God is showing me the correct way in which he expected us to be here down here. He sent the souls of Adam and Eve to heal this curse. He is wanting to correct all of the curses within these bloodlines so that we can have a blessed bloodline. But if we don't allow him to stretch us and us be flexible, we won't learn and grow. We'll be rigid and closed off and have a hardened heart and a closed off mind. And that's not where he wants us to be. Okay? The last two verses says, 25 says, and Adam knew his wife again, and she bare a son and called his name Seth. For God said, she hath appointed me another seed instead of Abel, whom Cain slew. And to Seth, to him also there was born a son, and he called his name Enos. Then began men to call upon the name of the Lord. Okay, so God is saying he is calling all of us to call upon his name, to stop seeking outside of ourselves. He is showing us that these people are, so many people are like, oh, this person did this and this person did that, and that person couldn't be a person of God. He said, O ye of little faith, O ye of little knowledge, because it is within all of us, light and dark. We have, and those dark thoughts you have. That's what he just told me. He said, don't pretend like you don't know those dark thoughts, the ones you don't want the world to know, the ones that you want to stay hidden, that you think other people don't know. He said, but I know. And if you don't fall on your face and ask for forgiveness and seek me, I'm going to start revealing all your deepest, darkest thoughts. I'm just the messenger. He's going to start revealing the deepest, darkest thoughts. You're going to be saying stuff you ain't think you was going to say, revealing about yourself in settings and places that you never thought you'd say these things. And you are going to be compelled, because God convicts. He is not of shame and guilt and all of these things. He convicts. So please, I truly ask that each and every person starts seeking him wholeheartedly for self. He said, I will lead you to who has the messages you need. But I know their heart. I know what they're choosing. I know when they choose the light or they choose the dark. I know when they're trying to balance the two out. I know when they're seeking me wholeheartedly. I know when they are just after your money and want you to sign that check and give them X, Y, and Z. He is asking for a personal relationship with you. It's the best gift you can ever receive. And I pray that whomever needs this message finds it. I pray that you're convicted to watch it from beginning to end, because it is not about clicks, likes, and subscribes for me. This is about the work of the Most High. And if only one person watches it, I know that's who it was meant to. I'm pleased because I know I did what I was supposed to do. And I leave this with you in the name of Jesus Christ, powered by the most powerful, highest God. And I will see you later tonight for my spiritual awakening live. Hope and pray it's on time at 9. I'm hearing yes, it will be. And also tomorrow at 7 a.m., I do my workouts to get back to healing. I'm a personal trainer that shows that side of things that a lot of people don't. Everybody wants to look perfect, doesn't ever want to look like they had to start from square one, which all of us do. And a lot of personal trainers have never been fat. A lot of them get lipo and surgery, and God is going to expose that stuff. I'm trying to, we are in a time and place of judgment, y'all. And he is exposing a lot. And we see some of it in the news right now, but it's about to get real personal. Y'all need to understand it ain't going to just be in the celebrity world. It's going to get real personal where he going to be outing folks. And I'm telling you, people going to be making that the talk of the town, talking about somebody else getting outed, and God going to out them. So I'm just the messenger. But God bless everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. See y'all later tonight and tomorrow.